For as long as we can remember, the playbook for success has been pretty clear, right? Be faster, be more responsive, always be connected. But what if that entire playbook is dead wrong? What if I told you that a new class of elite performers are winning, not by connecting more, but by strategically disconnecting? Yeah, I know. It sounds totally backwards, but stick with me here. What if that constant hustle, that always-on mentality, is the one thing that's actually holding you back? In this explainer, we're going to dive into how the absolute best leaders aren't just managing their tech, they're actively rejecting parts of it. Why? To get back the one thing that truly matters: their deep, focused attention. And look, this isn't just some feel-good wellness trend. We're talking about a massive economic problem. $190 billion. That's the annual cost of stress in the US alone. And a huge chunk of that is because we literally can't unplug. That number, it's a colossal drain on our health, sure, but also on our national productivity. So what's really going on here? It all comes down to this: the always-on culture. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that unspoken rule that, thanks to our smartphones and global teams, the workday, well, it never really ends. It's the email that lands at 11 p.m., the Slack message on a Saturday, that constant nagging pressure to reply right now. Let's be clear, that isn't dedication. It's a one-way ticket to burnout. And the price we pay? It's steep. We're talking chronic stress, total emotional exhaustion, terrible sleep. It even messes with your immune system. But here's the kicker, the real irony in all of this. The very culture that was designed to squeeze every last drop of output from us, it actually destroys our productivity. So what's the solution everyone talks about? What's the go-to advice? Well, that brings us to what I call the detox illusion. Most of us, when we feel that burnout creeping in, we think, I need a digital detox. It sounds amazing, right? But here's the problem, and what we're about to unpack. It's only a temporary fix. It's basically putting a tiny Band-Aid on a really, really deep wound. You know the drill. You decide to go completely cold turkey for a weekend. The phone gets locked in a drawer, and you try to, reconnect with the nature or whatever. The whole point is to hit the reset button on your brain, right? To break that cycle of constant pings and notifications. But if you've ever tried it, you know the feeling. That sense of calm is frustratingly temporary. And this is where we need to make a really crucial distinction. A digital detox, it's just a reset button. It feels good for a second, but it doesn't actually change your underlying habits. Now, digital minimalism, that's a step in the right direction. It's a whole philosophy about being intentional with the tech you use. But the elite performers we're looking at, they're doing something else entirely. Something way more surgical. And that brings us to the elite strategy, selective Ludditism. Now, hold on. This has nothing to do with smashing looms or rejecting technology altogether. Not at all. This is about being a surgeon, not a sledgehammer. It's about strategically and temporarily removing specific digital tools from your life to radically boost your performance. Let's look at the keywords here because they matter. Deliberate, recurring, and structured. See? This isn't some spontaneous one-time thing. It's a system, a planned, repeatable ritual. And what's it designed to do? It's designed to build a fortress around the most valuable skills you have in today's economy: deep thinking, long-term strategy, and your own emotional stability. Okay, so let's break this down. You've got the digital detox, which is just a temporary reset. Then there's digital minimalism, which is more of a long-term lifestyle choice. But selective Ludditism, that's a scheduled tactical discipline. It's not about owning less tech. It's about creating scheduled voids, planned pockets of time away from specific tools so you can get way more out of your own mind. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at what some of the top CEOs are doing. All right, first up, Justin McLeod. He's the CEO of Hinge, the dating app. And what did he do? He deleted the email app from his phone. Think about that for a second. The CEO of a major tech company. Why would he do that? Because he realized that his most important job wasn't answering emails. It was high-level strategy. And getting bogged down in the day-to-day minutia was actually stopping him from doing his real work. Then you have Tiffany Schlein, the founder of the Webby Awards. She takes it a step further. Every single week, she practices what she calls a tech Shabbat. That's 24 hours completely offline. And for her, it's not just a break. It's a ritual that recenters her. It recharges her creativity, and it completely changes her relationship with her devices for the other 6 days of the week. And what about Ariana Huffington? Her rule is so simple, but so powerful. Her phone is not allowed to sleep in her bedroom, ever. It's a hard, physical boundary. Why? To protect the most important cognitive restoration process we have, sleep. As she puts it, this way, she wakes up just as fully charged as her phone. So, okay, we see what they're doing. But how do they actually pull it off? That brings us to the playbook. And here's the secret. It's not about having superhuman willpower. It's about building systems, protocols, that make disconnecting the default setting not the exception. All right, here are 4 protocols you can put into practice. First, go into your settings right now and switch your phone to grayscale. Seriously, it sucks all the dopamine-triggering color out of the screen and turns it from a toy back into a tool. Second, embrace single-purpose devices. Think about it. An e-ink reader is for reading, not for falling down a YouTube rabbit hole. Third, batch your email. Stop checking it every 5 minutes. Pick 2 or 3 specific times a day, and that's it. And fourth, create those hard physical boundaries, just like Ariana Huffington. Get the tech out of your bedroom. And the payoff for doing this stuff? It is absolutely staggering. A Georgetown University study found that by reducing your screen time, you can improve your focus so much that it's like, listen to this, reversing 10 years of age-related cognitive decline. I'm going to say that again, reversing a decade of cognitive decline. This isn't just about feeling a little less stressed. This is about making your brain younger and sharper. And that is why we call this the disconnection advantage. Look, in an economy that values deep work, creativity, and real strategy more than ever, being able to unplug is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate power move. And what started as a strategy for a few elite performers is now going global. Just look at what's happening. We're seeing entire countries writing the right to disconnect into law. First, Portugal, making it illegal for your boss to contact you after hours. Then Spain doubles down on its own laws. Now India is looking at a similar bill. The world is waking up to a simple fact. A burnt-out workforce is a broken workforce. This isn't just about personal habits anymore. It's becoming a fundamental labor right. And if you're wondering why this is happening, the data tells a pretty stark story. I mean, look at this. In some industries, a jaw-dropping 82% of people report feeling burnt out. More than a quarter of all workers feel like they simply can't disconnect, and they end up doing unpaid overtime just to keep up. It's just not sustainable. The system is broken. So it's time for a fundamental shift in how we think about productivity. We have to kill this old, outdated idea that just being present or being online equals performance. It's obsolete. The real high-value work, the work that matters, comes from a mind that is well-rested and deeply focused. And that leads us to the final critical insight. Rest is not the reward you get for finishing your work. It's a requirement for doing great work in the first place. It is just as vital to someone who works with their mind as a hammer is to a carpenter. It's not a luxury, it is a strategic tool. So I'll leave you with this question. As AI gets better and better at doing all the routine stuff, what's left? What becomes more valuable than ever? It's the uniquely human skills, creativity, critical thinking, real strategy. And in that world, maybe, just maybe, your ability to disconnect, to get away from the noise and actually cultivate those skills might just be your single greatest professional asset.